Hi, my name is Suzan McDowell, and welcome to another episode of In the Circle with Suzanne, where I get to talk to whoever I want to about whatever I want to. So we're still in Black History Month. There's been so many awesome things that have come out of Black History Month, wonderful stories, and just general excitement for the month and the celebration of Black excellence. We're in the spring, which is my favorite time of year, and I'm very excited. You know how much I love brilliance as a lifelong learner and lover of words and have a lot of words and all of that. So I'm here. I'm so excited to be here with three of my favorites here in Miami. These are the three beautiful Miami Herald reporters. I like to call them young, gifted, and Black. By the way, shout out to Torrance. I don't want Torrance to think that I didn't know he's a little part of it. So anyway, thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
Raisa, Isaiah, and Michael.
Hello.
So thank you for being here, and welcome to In the Circle with Suzanne. I'm going to start like I always start. Okay? It goes like this. You were born, and then what happened?
Well, first, thank you for having us.
You are
I really
welcome.
appreciate it. So I was born in Macon, Georgia, actually.
Ah, voila.
I moved to Atlanta when I was 2, but I had been so far detached from Macon. Like, I have relatives there. We go back and forth, but I grew up in Atlanta to the point where it didn't occur to me that I was born in Macon until much later. So I saw, like, my birth certificate, and I was like,
Where?
okay. So y'all didn't tell me that, but it's okay. Maybe you did. Maybe I just didn't care. But I was raised in Atlanta, Georgia, a hardcore Southwest Atlanta girl. We always ask what high school you went to. I went to Mays High School in Atlanta. So shout out to Mays.
Right, the best, right?
Yes.
Yes, of course.
Amazing.
Yes.
Not the least of which because you were there.
Oh, of course.
I'm just saying.
But no, I mean, a beautiful city, one of the few that I've lived in. I think what got me in this like career though was like I was a teen. I always wanted to do this, right?
Mhm.
But I was a teen reporter for like my school newspaper.
Oh, word?
Yes, and so they canceled a story on me all because there was an allegation about the cheerleaders at the time that I was writing about. And I was like, that's not how this works. Y'all don't even know if this is true. Like,
Just deciding this.
yes, you're just
Yeah.
deciding. And so that's when I kind of was like, okay, if I'm gonna do this for real, I gotta go find somewhere else and do it. And so I did it for like a teen outlet.
Mhm.
And they were pretty much uncensored. Like you could do what you want. You were learning actual journalism. And like it was like the thing to do. And so that's kind of where like I kind of got into this idea of like, okay, I can actually tell stories
this.
about my community.
What do your parents do? Like, what's your mom and dad's story?
So my mom and dad, they're from Macon, Georgia. They are high school sweethearts. It's
Oh my God.
it's kind of cute and it's kind of gross at the same
At the
time.
same time. Do they
Um,
still like hold hands and stuff?
I
Are
mean,
they like, hey, how you doing?
they are not that. I don't think I would want to see that. Like, I'm happy they're together, right? But like they clearly love each other. You don't have 7 kids and not love each other,
Oh,
in my
7 kids.
I did
opinion.
not know you had
Yes.
brothers and sisters.
Yes,
No cable.
I do.
That's what happens with
Yes.
no cable,
Shout out
right?
the circle.
Right? So like I'm at the top. So like I came out first and then the others,
Oh,
you know.
so you're the elder.
You're the oldest.
Yes, I am the
God,
oldest.
that whole elder thing is a lot.
It is a lot. It is a lot. Our youngest sibling finally graduates high school. I say finally like he hadn't been working hard. Like he actually is a good student.
Yeah.
But he graduates.
Of you.
Yes, he graduates high school in May. So we're excited.
Yeah,
a big
let's
thing.
go.
So yeah.
All right,
yeah.
so you made the 7th. The 7th has been done.
Yes, the 7th has been done. To me, it will be complete when he goes to UGA.
Where is he?
Would-
Is that where he's gonna go?
Well, that's where he wants to go. So 2 of us have gone to UGA,
Okay.
and then some of us have gone to Georgia State.
Okay.
He might actually, because he's the youngest, he might actually have a chance at going to school out of state, and I think my parents would pay for that. So he'd be the first to go to school out of state,
Okay.
and I want that for him
Nice,
too.
yeah.
Shout out- Hey man, you
Go,
might
big
as well
sister.
Stay home and go to Morehouse.
All right.
Oh my God, my
We're
dad has
gonna-
pushed that, and we were like, no, we don't want to stay in school in state. We're good. So or in Atlanta.
I'm going to move along to my boyfriend, as we all know. Everybody already knows Isaiah's my favorite. Isaiah knows it more than anybody, though, and he usually abuses it. But
Oh,
it's
that's
fine, no
great.
problem.
That's great.
Isaiah is the same age as my daughter, the exact same age, except Isaiah's 100, and I'm the age of my daughter in this whole relationship. Mainly because I'm like a kid, and you are an old man. So everybody's clear, nobody's confused. Isaiah's my favorite. No pressure though, Isaiah.
Thank you, I appreciate
We're gonna start the same way, even though I know your whole story because
Yeah.
I have a GPS on you and have all that going on. I was born And then what happened?
Okay, so I was born at Sparrow Hospital in Lansing, Michigan. Same
Nice.
hospital as Magic Johnson, actually.
All right. Well, his eye was on the sparrow.
It's a fun fact.
Yeah, right?
That is a fun fact.
Super fun fact.
Nice fun.
So my parents divorced when I was 3, and so I moved to Columbus, Ohio with my mom, hence my love for Ohio State.
Oh, wow.
So lived in Ohio with my mom from ages 3 to 12. Then she moved to Delaware, right? And so I followed her along there. And then that was like, to me, like the pivotal point in my life because, I had a decision to make, like, okay, do I want to go live with my dad? Do I want to go stay with my mom? Because I didn't really want to move to Delaware, but I think I told my mom all the time, like, that move was crucial for my development because, like, it gave me a little bit of East Coast flavor, right? That's, where my affinity for this, all Philadelphia sports kind of comes from, right? And so it was, and also I tell her that it made me cool too, because I just felt like, it's just, the Midwest is cool. I love it, but like it's a little bit slow if you're not in like a Chicago or one of those places that or Detroit, one of those places that really
Is that
got
like hard? That's hard.
good culture.
Super hard for people that are very smart. Is to be somewhere that's slow. It's like so annoying.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And I didn't
there's more.
necessarily-
There's more.
No, that's real. And I didn't necessarily realize it though at the time though. So it really
You were
took
just
me-
bored.
Yeah, I was just
didn't
like,
know why.
look, like, I had my good group of friends. I was vibing. So, we moved to Delaware. It was great. I graduated high school there. My grandparents still live there to this day. Then went
nice.
to Morehouse College in Atlanta, hence why, I'm pressuring.
Yes, my dad has done that. My dad went to Morehouse, and he has done that, and
Look.
we've all pushed back.
Look, or go to Howard, just go to HBCU.
Just go to HBCU.
There's a bunch of HBCUs. So,
And they did that, and so when I tell them, I said, when you lean in too heavy,
yeah,
they rebel because I know
true.
me.
that's true.
I was like, look, I'm done.
I feel it. Went to Morehouse, and I think going into my freshman year of school, like I knew that I wanted to like do sports journalism of some way, shape.
So you
or
knew you
form.
wanted to do sports.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I've been knew I wanted to do sports. I mean, I grew up watching the Michael Smiths, the Stuart Scotts, the Stephen A. Smiths.
I didn't
on
know
ESPN.
that.
So I'm like, that's what I want to do. Like, I want to get paid to talk
Wow.
about sports.
Well, we gotta
and
talk about Stephen A. Smith on our side. But
yeah,
anyway, go
yeah,
ahead.
we'll talk about that later.
Thanks.
So, I go to Morehouse, and then like they don't have a journalism program at the time. So I'm like, all right, what's the closest to journalism? All right, like film. So I, did the cinema, television, emerging media studies. Did that, graduated with that, and then did my minor in journalism. And along the way, I got connected with Bill Rhoden, the preeminent sports columnist, right? And he, a prominent, sports columnist, and then like he, started this program called the Rhoden Fellows. Shout out ESPN and Anscape for
Shout out
creating that little,
ESPN.
collaboration, right? And so through that program, I really was just immersed in like sports and culture journalism, right? And so it allowed me to write about everything, from my HBCU, and at the time, specifically my senior year, we were having some like turnover at the president position, so it allowed me to like cover stuff real time, and I got great experience doing that. And plus, you went to the NFL Combine, I went to the Celebration Bowl, like it really just allowed me to really just hone my skills and talent as a journalist. So, fast forward to like, when I graduated, I go to Columbia Journalism School, I step in that place, and I'm I'm like 10 toes down, like
You're
I know
the
what
dude.
I'm doing. Yeah, low key, like
You're
not
the
even
dude.
I don't even toot
No,
my
but I
horn,
mean,
but I'd been
the psychology of it,
Yeah.
though. I promise you,
Yeah.
the fact that you got there and you knew you were the man.
yeah,
Not necessarily
for sure.
showing out, but you already that's one of the things that I love about you is your certainty.
Yeah,
Is your certainty about who you are actually in the world.
yeah.
I don't, much as cute as I am and as brash as I am, I don't have that exact same thing that you have, and which is why I admire it and I'm attracted to it, or not attracted in a weird way, like in a soul connection way.
I got you.
I know you understand.
It's funny that you say that because it's like, when you do it, like it doesn't really necessarily seem as I just personally like, I'm just trying to make it, like I don't know what, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what I'm doing, but
telling
like
you. I know
I
you know that I'm a star maker.
I appreciate
I'm a star maker and a star recognizer, which is why the three of y'all are sitting here, a little triumvirate, a little thruple, like a professional thruple. Anyway, I know I love that word. People like, stop using that word.
yeah, that word.
I'm so sorry. I take it back. It's a good word, though. Think about it. It's cute. Okay, all right. No problem. I also would like to point out that I think the day that I fell madly in love with your writing was the day that you used one of my favorite words, double entendre.
Hey, I love that word. That's one of my favorite words.
I
I love hip hop. Hip hop is all double entendres.
You
Well,
love
the
the
good,
double entendre.
the good hip hop is all double entendres.
Yeah.
So,
I feel like In the Circle with Suzanne is also a double entendre.
because we're
Ish.
physically in the
We're in
circle.
the lab.
Oh.
The best part is I didn't even come up with that name. That's the best part. I didn't even think of it. I was like, oh, it's good. My sister always says I'm the most intelligent airhead that she knows.
You're not an airhead.
I am an
That's
intelligent airhead.
That's
For you got to have the intelligent part first.
That's wild.
Anyway, all right, we're done with Isaiah. I'm
Yeah,
done with you.
yeah,
Broken up
let's
with you
move
now. Now I'm with
Go
you.
ahead.
Oh,
So, Michael
Sorry.
Butler, you were born, and then what happened?
yeah, so my name is Michael Butler. I was born in Augusta, Georgia. Yeah, right.
Maybe you're the most normal one of the three of you.
I would say the contrary, but that being said, I was born in Augusta, Georgia.
I would say the contrary.
I was born in Augusta, Georgia. My
Okay.
father was in the U.S. Army for 24 years. He's a black man from Carroll City. My mother
wow.
is an immigrant from Panama. She got here in the late 70s.
Afro-Latino.
And, yeah, it's a whole thing. But long story short, like I just have like a really unique like entrance into journalism.
I want to
I-
hear about your childhood first. Talk about when you
Oh
started.
man, it's a
You
long
were born,
childhood.
and then what happened? You doesn't
I
have
got gray
to
hairs
be
in my
long.
beard. It's a lot of time. but no. So look. Everywhere we have lived at across the continental United States and Panama, I just have loved reading. I'm the middle child. I would literally like steal my brother's XXL magazine, Source magazine in the 90s,
What?
just so I could read them. Like he doesn't know that, but it's okay.
No, no.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
right.
now he knows.
And I just like reading. I would read the bag of peanut butter crunch box. I
Yeah.
love.
I know
get
it
it.
really is.
You know,
for the love
Yeah,
of
I get
reading.
And
for real.
it wasn't because I thought school was cool. I was never really into school. That's the crazy.
You just
part
love
about it.
reading
I just
and
love
words.
reading. Yeah, like
what's up.
I liked ideas and thoughts, but I did not like doing schoolwork or homework.
Mhm,
It was
mhm.
boring to me.
Mhm.
So
Right, for
then-
the same exact reason.
yeah,
The same exact reason, which at the time you don't know. You're not like, I'm so smart. You're just like, why am I?
And we grew up in a bilingual household, so my mother taught us Spanish.
Hablas español.
Sí, habla español. And
good.
so these were things that were just commonplace to us. And then when you're a military child, I tell people all the time, it's not good when you're growing up because you don't get to have the typical childhood that you're moving all the time. You don't really make friends.
Mhm.
And when you're an adult, it's great. You can go to a networking event or something, and you're like, "Hey, how you doing?"
Yeah. Common experience of terrible childhood.
But yeah, right. I think that's a really great part for any great writer. But suffice to say, then years later, after I graduated high school, I worked a few odd jobs and stuff, bounced around a few community colleges, just trying to figure my life out.
Mm-hmm.
And my parents, they also had divorced when I was probably about 16 or so. And
So wait a minute, your parents are the only ones that are together.
yeah, they hold
Divorce.
Yeah,
That's a whole thing.
So I said to say to you, I was working some really, really, really crummy jobs before I decided to go back to school and get my degree at Temple
Mhm.
University in Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
So I have many people in my life that are Philly sports fans. I am not, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But, for me, living in Philadelphia, that's really what emboldened my passion for journalism and for like writing. Because I saw that there could be a future in this. Before, I just wanted to create stuff for a living. If that makes sense to you.
Yeah,
So,
or
like,
get a paycheck.
yeah, like if he hadn't been a sports writer, he probably would be an award-winning filmmaker,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
You know,
Or
like
he just chose writing.
she would be an amazing like English professor at like UGA if she was not a journalist.
I would be accepting my Academy Award. I want to thank the Academy. I want to thank Halle Berry for all
all
of
those
her
people,
tutelage.
thank all of them.
Shout out Holly.
You know,
Anyways.
Dorothy Dandridge, all of them. And so yeah, like I went back and got my bachelor's. At the time, it was no longer communications. At Temple University, they call it media studies and production because they didn't want us to just learn how to create written content. They want us to learn social media content, video content, because they were like, the way the industry is changing. You guys need to be like prepared for the real world out there.
Yeah.
Like,
And you guys are.
yeah, I had a mentor that told me at Temple, nobody's gonna care about your GPA except you and your mother.
Yeah.
You
That's
go into the industry.
Whoa.
They want to know, hey, can you write? Can you make deadlines?
Yeah,
Can you actually go interview Suzan McDowell?
Yeah.
You know, that's what they want to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, that lends itself to my approach with journalism. I'm always thinking about what is the story that is not being told, and what are some dynamic ways in which we can teach this, or rather, we can do this work.
Yeah.
Because everybody's gonna write about, for example, the Super Bowl, but everybody might not write about the value, the dollar figures of Kanye's. He had like an ad.
An ad, right?
It took, oh, what?
Yeah, he
Kanye did do
did.
an ad.
Kanye did an ad in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, he said he spent all the
Yeah.
money, production money, on the ad, and so it was really him like at the like, getting new teeth. It was really like a fake, like a little,
What? I
like
did.
a
I
little-
clearly missed
Imagine you FaceTime Kanye and he's at the dentist, and that's what the ad.
That was the ad was.
He was like, "Yeah,
Okay.
go buy my stuff."
And he's waiting on people to go, he's a genius. He's waiting for that.
That's
Yeah, he
for
needs to
better
go
or worse,
kick rocks.
but
Let's move away from Kanye.
yeah, I
Yeah,
digress.
Mike.
I digress. I certainly digress. But yeah, so
Don't bring up Kanye.
and then I ended up here at the Miami Herald, and now we get to talk to Suzan McDowell in
Voila.
the circle.
And I think
Woohoo!
wait, before we continue, I think it's really important that we highlight what Monica did.
Yes,
Oh,
Monica.
Monica-
Oh my God,
Yeah,
Monica
before
Richardson.
Monica
Richardson,
yeah,
is literally the reason
Monica.
They're here for sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
'Cause I remember
Monica.
we sat down right after she got hired, and she's like, "What does the Herald need?" And I was like, "More Black people."
Whoa.
And so that's when you, Torrance, everyone started coming in, and like that's one thing that I really appreciate about her, just as a mentor. Just
She
all
opened the
of us.
doors.
She really opened a
She
lot of
opened
doors.
the
for us,
doors.
for
She opened
sure.
the doors. Well, I mean, as somebody who I was, I've been obviously your age, and I came up and I didn't even realize I'm so glad you guys know. It's really an education. At the time, I didn't know what a mentor was. I didn't know I should go to somebody and go, hello, can you help me? But all the time there were mentors. There just wasn't a structure for a mentor. Like now you guys are required to have mentors. So I think back on all of the things that they taught me. And if I had been prepared to learn it, which is what you're doing when you go to a mentor, you're asking them to teach you. If I had been prepared to learn, I would have been so much further along. So I know that mentorship is super important. Somebody that understands you, that was where you are, that can go left. Don't go right, go left. So I think Monica Richardson, you're absolutely right. She should get, let's have a round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen. Monica Richardson.
Yeah.
So I've been in Miami doing what I do for a long time. And, I had to learn publicity. I have no publicity degree. I've never taken one class. So if I mess up, I'm sorry. So I've had to learn publicity along the way, just like you. And I've met a lot of reporters. I've met a lot of people. I've been ignored by a lot of reporters. Sometimes the three of you ignored me, but for good reason. And then we come back together because it's just a thing because you're busy. And that's the thing I had to realize about reporters. Yvette Miley told me that one time. She said, pretend Yvette Miley, who's was the VP of operations for MSNBC, who is, and she said to me, she said, I want you to picture a beach line. And then I want you to picture a wave coming to get you. And right when the wave hits you, another wave comes in. And then another wave and another wave. So there's really no way to even catch up with the first wave. That's your life, right?
Yes.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
That's a great analogy.
Exactly.
The best way to
That's what
describe
she
it to me.
told me.
Yeah.
And I was like, and so then at that point you say, it's not personal. It's they probably didn't even see my email because there's 20 other emails. You know what I mean? Or 20,000, whatever it is. You know what I mean? You guys get a lot of emails, a lot of pitches, which is why what I've realized, it's important to have a personal relationship because I'm happy if you tell me no sometimes, no problem. At least you listen to me. He tells me no, go ahead, kick rocks, but he listened to me. He tells me no all the time, no, but he listens to me. You know what I mean? At least he's like a
I
response.
feel like this is an intervention.
It's a response. I'm sorry. I'm getting caught up. I'm
The
getting
real
caught
reason
up.
I brought you here today so you guys
I'm
can
getting
answer
caught up.
my
I'm getting caught
emails.
up. I'm sorry. I'm getting caught up. I'm so sorry. I apologize. I totally no, but seriously, I apologize because that's absolutely not why. I want to know who you guys are. I already know who you guys are from working with you, and so I wanted to know who you guys are as a unit, and then also as individuals, and like I want you to tell me like what has this been like to be this phenomenon, which is crazy in 2025 that we are still having this conversation about how 2-3 Black. Maybe I'm the only one that thinks it's a phenomenon, but I've been here for a minute, and you know what I mean. Like it is a lot.
It
to
hasn't
give.
happened before.
It has or has not.
Hasn't.
It has not. So it's to see young, smart, talented Black people have that kind of access and power, really, of the pen, and your discernment is. I'm very impressed. Anyway. So tell me, you were the first, Isaiah, right? How did you feel when you came on, and what has it been like for you?
So I'm gonna tell a quick story about my first day, right? First day, in the office, 2019, right? And Jeff Kleiman, who I love, right, is the editor, right, that I'm reporting to, right? And the first story that comes across my desk, and I started as like the breaking news, like on the real time desk. That's what they call it, real time desk, right? So your job is basically to mine social media, and like whatever you see come across
Oh,
that's
like
something
trends.
to do, yeah,
Yeah.
with Miami, or really just Florida in general. Like you got to write about it, right? And so I'm looking, I see like this black woman who had like, you know, kind of gotten married on a whim, but like had, you know, flown out all of her friends to like, she had like a bridal party of like 24 people, right? And it was somewhere in Florida, and like they had a big, you know, great photo shoot, great wedding, all that stuff. And like I said, she literally personally funded for like 24 people to get there. And I said, oh, Seth, that's Black Girl Magic. Gotta write that. So I write the story, hand it over, boom. Very early in the story, it's Black Girl Magic, the word Black Girl Magic. And I'll never forget Jeff Kleiman coming up to me, being like, what does that mean?
What does that even mean?
And I was like, what does what mean? He's like, Black Girl Magic. And I was like, oh, I don't even know how to put this into words real quick. I'm gonna just
After
okay.
hundreds of years.
Yeah, so I realized that like, okay, like there is a reason I'm here, because like they, you know, and there's black people in the newsroom at the time. You know, there's JD, who's now, you know, my direct editor. You know, David Neal,
Oh, David
Jackie,
Neal, I love him.
Jackie Charles, but
Charles
isn't really in the office though,
is the
right?
jam though, because
So-
she's in Haiti.
Yeah,
or
she's literally
Caribbean.
covering the world, right?
Yes.
Personified.
And then
Yeah.
John Yearwood.
Yeah, she's literally the personification of
Yeah.
Black Girl Magic. So,
Exactly.
when there was, and then there's Devon, and so like I just, you know, coming from an HBC, right, you have a certain just way of viewing the world, and
Agency.
viewing yourself in the world, right? So I knew that like I was here for a purpose, right? And so whatever, you know, that was, like I'm gonna still figure it out, but I just knew that like it was, you know, at least personally, I knew wherever I was, like I wasn't gonna stay as a breaking news, you know what I'm saying? That was just my foot in
You
the
wanted
door.
to tell longer stories.
Yeah, I wanted to tell longer stories. I wanted to tell bigger stories. I wanted to, you know, I just knew that I wasn't gonna be there long. So one of the first things I did was talk to Alex Mana at the time, who was a sports
Alex, yeah,
editor. Now
this
he's
guy.
the head
Yeah.
guy. And I was just like, hey, look, you know, I played a little bit of college football. If you guys need any help covering football, like I'm your guy, right? And so maybe a couple weeks later, UM's playing, and he's like, hey, like, you know, they're playing Bethune-Cookman, and he's like, you know, there's a few guys on Bethune who, you know, went to high school here, like maybe just write something quick on that. So I go write something quick on that. Like not only was it really good, like, you know, Suzanne, Susan, because her name's Susan Miller Dagnan.
I know you know my name is not Susan.
My fault.
Call me
My
Whitney
bad.
before you
No,
call me
I know. So she was like the UM reporter, the Hurricane reporter at the time, and she loved me. So it was like, okay. So now I'm getting it good from her. Like, okay, Isaiah's great, you know, telling Alex Mana this. And then, you know, obviously the work is coming through. And then, you know, I started covering a lot more, you know, sports just from that, right? And then, you know, on the culture side, like I remember it was within the first few months of us, you know, me being there, I think Jeff got an email about Port of Miami 2, the Rick Ross album coming out. And I was like, oh, snap. Like, and he's like, yo, just write up something quick on it and, you know, be on our way. And I look and I read the email, and I was like, this is an invitation, like, to like the Soho House. And I was like, oh. I was like, oh, like, nah, I don't think we should just do a little write up on it. I think I should go. Let me try to interview Rick Ross, and then let's do a story about, because I don't think there had been a Rick Ross story in the Miami Herald yet.
Yeah.
And so I, you know, got clearance, and I remember my idea at first was like, it was some really Rolling Stone stuff, because it was like, I wanted to interrogate like why revisit an album, right? Why name something like the power of the number 2, right? Because like, you know, Port of Miami 1 was his, you know, his entry into the game. I want to do something on like why go back and revisit that, right? So, and basically was told like, nah, like that's too much. Like this isn't a music publication, right? You got to like do something a little bit smaller. So, I basically ended up writing the story on like how he gives a history. I know like Miami has this crazy drug history, right? But he was the first one that was kind of an historian for like the black side of it, right? And so, you know, it was
Mr. Miami Gardens.
yeah, and so, you know, through that interview, I got to talk to Uncle Luke. I got to talk to Denzel Curry, you know, Dre from Cool and Dre. And so I like put together a nice like piece, and I released it, and I'm like, whoa, like, okay. And I saw the reception. I was like, okay, there's like not a lot of people doing that here, especially at the Herald. So then I'm just, you know, I just started grinding. Then eventually I got the race and culture role, right? You know, following the murder of George Floyd, right? And so it was a time where
Yep.
a lot of these newsrooms were trying to be like,
Exactly.
like we don't cover black people. Let's try to,
Exactly.
you know what I'm saying?
George Floyd is how you got here.
Yeah.
Floyd is how you got here.
And
People are like, duh.
And so like I'm like, all right, but like I'm not. And I remember because they originally just wanted me to cover Miami Gardens, and I'm like,
No.
I'm not even from here, and I know Black Miami's bigger than Miami Gardens, right?
Right.
So my
20%
job.
of the
So
population.
basically, you know, I went from like going to the city council meetings and being there, and I'm like, all right, but like this is cool, but like this is not. I never really wanted to do this, so like let me try to find things that like just talk about blackness in general, right? And so you know, I read, you know, Dr. Dunn's, you know, Black Miami in the 20th Century, which is like a seminal text if you're writing about black people here. Then I read A World More Concrete by Andy B. Connolly just to get a little bit of information on like the housing stuff here, because I know obviously real estate's huge here, right? And so I just, you know, with that historical understanding, it was like, okay, I can speak from authority, from a point of authority on most things happening to black people, because a lot of people don't know the history. And so, you know, and then, you know, I created the 44%, the newsletter, which, you know, highlights, you know, everything black here in South Florida, but then also, you know, around the world. And, you know, I named it after, you know, 44% of the people that voted to incorporate the city of Miami were black, which, you know, we all know. But
Let's say that again.
44% of the people who voted to incorporate the city of Miami were black.
44%
Yes.
of the people that were required to establish the city of Miami were black.
Yes, 100%.
Thank you.
And so I just, you know, and I think, and I chose that name specifically because I wanted it to be like a rallying cry, right?
Yeah.
Because I know that, you know, black people here.
The double entendre.
Yeah. Your favorite word again. But like I knew that there wasn't a lot of spaces for black people, specifically at the Miami Herald, to like come and realize and just come and just have something that's like for us by us, right? Shout out FUBU. So like it's like one of those things where I don't know, I just, you know, I didn't want to do it, but like, you know, I'm thankful for the people that pushed me to do it. And so it became like, you know, this little baby that I have, and now Raisa has it, and she's, you know, I'm sure it's not, it goes up and down. And we can talk more about that later. But I don't know, like I wanted to create a space and kind of just make it easier for also anybody
Open the door for
that
Michael
comes up.
and Raisa.
Yeah, and like, you know, I don't know, I didn't necessarily realize this at the time, but then you do the work, and then you know, you make these connections in the community, and like you know, develop your own little.
And you realize the impact that you've made.
Yeah, and I realized, you know, the impact that I made, and like, you know, I think it's now what I'm doing is trying to figure out a way to like balance it, because, you know, I obviously switched over to sports, you know, covering the Dolphins, which has really been a real passion of mine, like since day one. So I'm like, you know, when you have all these goals, right, you start checking them off, and it's like, all right, well, what's next?
Need new goals.
I need new goals. So that's where I'm at now.
Make your pot bigger, and it'll.
And I
fill
feel
up.
like I've been talking a lot.
So wait. I was about to go to Michael. So Michael, you cover business. I know he's like, you cover business. So yours is a different realm, which is what I'm interested in. South Florida is one of the top, generators of small businesses in the country. It might be the top. I mean, I think it's because we have so many immigrants, and there's an immigrant mentality that's like, go get your own job, generate a job for yourself.
Yeah.
So now you have to cover everything. You're not a black business reporter, you're a business reporter. So right?
Yeah.
So like what are your thoughts about coming in, being the business reporter? You know, how has it been?
Well, in my experience is similar to Isaiah's in that I didn't come here as a minority business reporter. I came here originally writing about real estate. I'm sorry, this story is really funny. Rick Hirsch, one of our former editors at the Miami Herald, he's had a career in journalism, done exceptional work. He actually recruited me twice. The first time was for the Report for America Fellowship that launched in, I think, 2020. And at the time, it didn't align for me to come down to Miami. The second time was literally like a year and some change later, because the National Association of Black Journalists, a Black journalism organization of which we're all members.
Yes, NABJ. Shout out to NABJ.
And we saw you there.
Shout out to
Chicago?
NABJ. Yes, I know. I saw them in the lobby, and I'm like, hi. And then he scammed me into buying him a bottle of tequila, but that's another story.
Whoa.
Totally scammed me into buying a bottle of $70 tequila. Anyway, go ahead, Michael.
And so,
That's what's
I
up.
have a whole story. Go.
But so yeah, like he recruited me at a virtual NABJ convention like a year or so later, right? And I don't know. I believe in divine alignment, and
Of
I'm
course.
a very spiritual person. I think about energy a lot, and so I'm like, you know what? Maybe this is a sign. Maybe I should come about doing this. Interestingly enough, Monica Richardson, the woman of whom we had just talked about,
Mhm.
she was my third or fourth interview. I can't remember. It was mad interviews,
Oh wow.
and she was the last person. She was the final boss.
Mm.
Like if you yeah, she was the penultimate not the penultimate, the ultimate person.
Yeah, she's the last word.
And
She's the one to make a
so
decision.
I remember being really nervous because the interview, mind you, newsroom time is like, it is not real time. Like newsroom time is like your deadline is like at 5 p.m. and you're like, bro, it's 3 p.m. They're like, yes, yeah,
And
we need
do
to
it and
yeah.
put. Yeah.
And I think my interview with her, it was dark outside my windows. It was like 5:30 in the evening, 6 o'clock in the evening. We had an interview on Zoom.
Oh, Zoom. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, like, and she was very, very, how do I say, stern?
Yes,
She was-
no,
she was very serious. She was
Monica's
very
very
serious.
serious. Yeah,
She
she's
was
not.
very
She's
serious.
not
She
really
don't play.
no foolish.
And all I
shit.
knew is
No.
this.
Very
I see
serious
this
lady.
beautiful, tall black woman with short hair, and I don't think she might have smiled once. Like
Monica is very serious.
she's very
Monica's
serious.
serious.
She's
Serious.
very about her business.
Yeah.
And then when I found out I got the job, like the following Monday, like
Like,
2
you
3
didn't
days.
even
later.
like me.
And then when I meet her in real life,
She
like
loves you.
yeah, she loves you.
yeah.
But yeah, like I had never. But I said to say this guy recruited me to write about real estate. I've written about tech and business before Miami Herald. I had never written about real estate.
Oh wow.
And so that's important because when I got here, Nicholas Nehamas, that's how you say his name?
Nehemas.
Yeah, Nicholas, how you say it?
Nehemas.
Nehemas.
Nehamas. So he's a former Miami Herald reporter, Pulitzer Prize winning journalist. He invited me out for lunch in Wynwood one day, or just coffee. And he told me, how did he say this? I'll be as polite as possible. He just said, hey, look, you have a chance to do something really special here. Like in the past, real estate coverage of Miami can feel like it's MTV Cribs, or it can feel like it's nothing but mansion stuff. He's like,
That's real.
I've seen your work. I know you have a chance to do something really special. And that's the approach with which I've had.
Yeah.
On the real estate beat, it's like, hey, I want to talk about like, housing discrepancies. I want to talk about people that can't afford to pay rent every month.
Wow.
To me, that is the real
That's
estate
the
story
true
of
story
Miami.
of the most amount of people.
Then-
It's the most amount of people.
Yeah.
and that's
that
something
affects.
real. I'm gonna be straight up with you. Most people, regardless of your race, ethnic background, political designation, whatever, you're not going to live in a penthouse in Brickell. I could pull my phone right now. I have like 10 of those pictures still in my email. Like right now, they just came in the last 24 hours. And I respond politely. I'm a professional. Like,
Yeah, you are.
thank you.
No, that's it. Respond. Thank you.
Yeah, I know y'all like to respond
Just
to at
respond.
least. Just respond.
Yeah.
And so at some point or another, we had like a shift happen. There was a minority business reporter position that kind of opens up. And so that's when Alex Mena is like, hey, Mike, we think you'll be really suited for this. Because these were a lot of stories that I was sprinkling in my coverage. Like how he talked about the Rick Ross thing just now. Where like, he's like, Michael, that was not my main thing, but
Yeah,
you know.
it turned out to a great story.
Yeah. And so I ended up starting doing that. And now I can interview people like the One United Bank CEO,
Oh my God.
who Suzanne connected me with.
We've been her publicist for 20 years this year. 2005 is the first time that they called me.
One of the only black-owned banks in the entire country.
The largest black
The
owned bank.
largest
The
black-owned
largest
bank in
black-owned
this
bank, who has so many customers that it's more than all the other black-owned banks combined.
I believe it.
Exactly.
With a location right here in Liberty City.
With the black on.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
My money there.
Yes, I mean, I have a lot of accounts at One United for different little things.
Yeah.
But I have Chase. I love Chase. We love Chase. As a matter of fact, Chase supports One United. They gave them their ATMs. Anyway, whatever. I know you know I'm very tangential.
Yeah,
I will
you
go
all
off.
you on it. That's one thing Suzanne is on it.
Yes.
Okay.
And so with that in mind, just like how Isaiah said, this was like something of a shift. Once you live in Miami, you have a way different perception of the city. I visited here as a kid a million times. My dad is from Miami Gardens, which for all intents and purposes is more, the experience we saw was more working class. At best, think about this, at best middle class. Mainly working class Miami. Like people not even getting in trouble necessarily, just like, hey, I got a job, I punch a clock. Hey, I'm going to spend time with my family on the weekend. That type of stuff. Like we went to Pembroke Pines as a field trip.
Oh, wow.
My
I'm so sorry.
me-
Yeah. Jeez.
yeah, like so I digress, but like my frame of reference was already of a certain type of Miami. So when I moved to live here, I'm like, wow, you know that we have pockets of communities over here. There's a lot of Black innovation and tech kids in Miami Gardens, in
Oh my
Opelika,
God!
all
All
over
over the
Miami.
place, North Miami, everywhere.
And the thing is, a lot of times people tell me to my face, I'm sure they've said it to both this lady and this gentleman, yo, we don't feel like y'all care about our story because none of y'all ever pop out to interview us.
Wow.
Why do you want to talk to me now?
Yeah,
You know? And so I think we're doing a lot of great work in our respective spaces in terms of like shattering those ideas. And I think that's really important.
Well, I mean, I also think what you just said is important when people are like, well, why didn't you, come before? And I know that that's so easy to do. And it's very annoying because you want it to have been done earlier. But my whole thing is we're here now. And I'm not saying we're here now, like, let's not pretend that happened and whitewash it. I'm saying, okay, great. You're right. It was all terrible. But here we are. I'm at your house now to interview you. I'm here now.
Yes.
So, you know what I mean? Like, don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. Anyway, okay, I'm done with you. I'm back over here. Brain beauty over here. So, Raisa, done with them. Tell me the girl story. Tell me about Black Girl Magic. I want to know what you
No, I get what you mean.
Yes.
No, so
and how does it feel filling his shoes after?
Oh,
yeah.
don't do that. Don't do that.
No, that's a good point. So, they mentioned Monica Richardson. Me and Monica worked together at the AJC in Atlanta. So I'm from Atlanta.
I remember.
am used to seeing, like they talk about Miami Gardens being more working class. I am used to seeing different classes in Atlanta of Black people. So to me,
100%.
it is very foreign coming here, and I'm used to, like, my doctors, they're Black.
Yeah, like you.
My dentist is Black. My teachers are Black. That's like what I'm used to seeing, even at the AJC. I don't say this often, but it was probably one of the few places I've worked where I saw people in leadership roles that looked like me.
Yeah.
So Monica, their current executive editor, Leroy Chapman, he was there when I was there.
Oh, wow.
My first Black woman editor was at the AJC.
Wow.
And so I am used to seeing myself in that way, right?
Yeah, so it's not like that's not a concern because everybody's like that.
Yeah,
everybody's a high level.
But it was very jarring, like when I moved from Atlanta, I moved to Savannah, and seeing Savannah was very much kind of like a Opelika in the sense in that you're seeing like this city, like it's a predominantly Black city, but they're not like, they could get there, but they're not quite there yet, right?
Yeah, just under.
Yeah, and I think the sad part with Savannah was that, they're a coastal city, and a few of the students that my husband has taught, they're Black students, they've never been to a beach. So Tybee Island is 30 minutes away, and some of these students have never been there. And so seeing, like, I feel like to some extent, my experiences in Savannah kind of mirror here a little bit. Like, I did not find like a Black doctor like I was used to.
Oh my God.
Yes, exactly.
Dr. Nita Tyler Petaway Tyler, she's the best.
And so, like,
I need
it's
the contact.
I love Dr. Petaway. Dr.
Well,
Petaway's
then
the
we will
best.
talk after. We will talk after.
Yes, I love her.
Because it's one of those things where it's like, it's so weird to like have that kind of
You
experience.
even have to look for it.
Yes. It's because like you open a phone book, find a Black doctor in Atlanta, and you
exactly,
can't find that everywhere. So I think that's kind of been like the learning curve here. It's like I'm used to seeing me, and I don't always see me.
Part of the problem in South Florida is with all of the cultures and everything. People say South Florida is like a melting pot or a salad. It's literally a bento box. You guys know bento box? Everybody's there on the plate.
Yeah.
Everybody's on the plate, but everybody has like their little wall.
Yeah.
Continue.
But
It's a bento box.
so like even coming before here, I'd written about like race, but differently. I covered the Ahmaud Arbery's murderers. I
Oh my
covered
God, I remember
that
that
trial, and
happened,
that
yeah.
was like such a thing. So Brunswick was like it was crazy. Brunswick is like very small townish, even though it's predominantly Black. Again, you're seeing kind of like the
That
similarity.
was crazy. I remember.
That was so
Remember that time?
crazy.
We were in a
There was.
pandemic, and it was just like, what?
It was.
And you filmed it.
Yeah, that was
That was so.
that was very tough to just kind of process like up close. So like you'd seen like the buildup, and Ahmaud was like predates even George Floyd.
Even George Floyd, he was
predates
he was right before George
Breonna
Floyd.
Taylor.
Yeah.
So you're coming off of that, and so you do see like thinking about that type of coverage and the stuff that we did in Savannah, and kind of carrying what we kind of didn't want to do. We wanted to bring humanity to that situation. And so I think that in my reporting, I at least try to do that. Like, especially when you're talking about covering like Black people. You
Your
cannot
story
just
with Nakia Bowling. I loved it so much. I posted it on LinkedIn. I called Nakia. Bunch of stuff I didn't even know. Thank you.
No, thank you.
Beautiful
No, and
story.
so that's like part of a series that like I've done this month is just highlighting like disruptors kind of like in an educational space. So they may not necessarily be like teachers. But they're like disrupting. So we wrote a story about Emmanuel. What is Emmanuel's last name? I can't remember his last name, but he does Black Broward. And he does the flashcards.
Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah,
so,
yeah.
you know, just the idea of teaching you your own Black
Yes,
history.
yes.
So Nakia, you know, she has her after school program, as you know.
I've done the
Art and
aerial, so
Yes.
I have pictures of me upside down.
And so, you know, and just the idea that they have what they're calling required reading for those that are in the after school program.
It's also an exhibition in the middle of Art of Transformation.
Yes, it is.
Physically in the ground.
It is. If you go to Opalaka, and it's not far from the Tri-Rail station, you'll see like the banned books. And you'll see like, I think there's like one of Issa Rae. Like the awkward Black girl being banned is so funny to me.
Obama was banned.
Yeah. So you
Madness.
see like this array of things. And so I think as far as like building on what Isaiah does, I think you continue it. It's not a yes, but it's a yes.
Yes, and. Yes,
And
and.
I like that. I like
And that's
that.
Yeah,
how
so
you
yes,
do that.
and. It's like,
I like
totally. He knows I'm messing with him. But I know before that, though, you were an investigative reporter, right?
So yeah, so when I was
Like
in-
you like to like.
So okay, and I think this is where I give a shout out to Ida B. Wells Society. It's a group of very, very strong-minded Black journalists that came together. You have Nicole Hannah-Jones with the New York Times. You have Ron
beast.
Nixon, who is now with the AP. Topher Grace, who's with ProPublica, and I want to say I can't remember the other guy's name. He used to be with the Tampa Bay Tribune, but now he's with ProPublica as well. Corey Johnson, that's who it is. They came together and created this organization to encourage Black journalists to get into investigative journalism. I kid you not, I've always wanted to do investigative work, but being told you're not ready yet, you're not there yet, you don't have the skill. Let me tell you something. I've been a breaking news reporter too. When you're doing breaking news, you are doing a little bit. You're doing that building block. It's because it's mostly crime reporting of investigative reporting. You are checking the police
Yeah,
law.
you gotta do all the little.
You're
things,
filing open
and
records
quickly.
requests. Yes, you're filing open records requests for document.
I agree.
You have that ability.
Yeah.
So don't let anyone tell you you cannot do this work. You can do this work. It also takes mentorship. I have mentors through that organization. I have mentors even to this day. And so I think it just took me telling myself, yes, I had a conversation with Ron Nixon and ABJ, think here, when it was in South Florida.
Wow.
And I was like, you know, I want you to look at some of my work. What do I need to do to improve? He said, you're already doing the work. You know, you just need to be somewhere in a position where you can continue to do it and do it even better. And that was so validating. I didn't realize that I needed to hear that, especially from somebody else, like who's at this point, Ron was still at New York Times, not even at AP yet, who was like, no, you are doing this work. You know, just keep at it.
That's a very okay. So that's a theme. He said the exact same thing. He said the exact same thing in different ways, right? Somebody that's there going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Your voice is actually valid. And when you write the stories, I was all up in your story this morning. I was like, what? I've known Nakia for how long? I was like, no way. Your story, all of you. So anyway, we have gone so far off time. Oh, look, I have 1 minute and 41 seconds. Yay. So, okay. And that's, yeah. So I want you to tell you how to find you. Oh, and one last thing. I want to know your favorite word and how to find you.
Oh, my favorite word. I don't have a favorite word, but the first word that always comes to mind is scrumptious because I had to like learn to spell that in second grade.
That's scrumptious.
And I'm always hungry.
Yeah,
so I think
scrumptious is good.
yes, but you find me. So I'm on Twitter, also known as X, at Newsworthy17. I'm also on Blue Sky at that same handle. And I'm on IG, same handle. I just kept it the same throughout. And you can find me on like the Miami Herald website. I'm on LinkedIn, and my information is there as well. So.
Yep. Awesome. Sir?
I don't necessarily have a favorite word. If I did, it would probably be made up. As all
Make it up.
splendiferous.
That's a word.
For real?
Yes.
It is,
like,
actually.
I think
word.
it's now in the dictionary, but I
Try.
could be wrong.
Try
I
again.
think it's actually in the dictionary.
Well,
Try again.
and that's my favorite word.
Like,
Yeah.
it's in the
So I
dictionary.
guess everyone can find me Saint Claude II, STCLAUDEII. That's across all platforms. I'm not on Blue Sky yet. I need to ask you about that. But then see Isaiah Smalls II. Find me on LinkedIn everywhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's a
all
lot
that
of
stuff.
shenanigans. He does a lot of things. He
Damn.
posts a lot of stuff. He's a lot of places.
I do be outside.
He's an outside cat.
Yeah.
I love that.
Unfortunately.
It's okay. It's a good thing. So, and Michael Butler, you're.
Yeah. So my favorite word is probably inexplicable.
Oh, that's
it-
inexplicable. I'm
It,
sorry.
it
yes.
can't be explained.
I understand.
And I wish I didn't have to use it so often. But it's like in my brain, I'm like he inexplicably went to school on a Saturday. Like,
That's
I-
real.
like
Is it kind of like a duh, or it's kind of like
as I think in my brain, yeah. Like I don't want to make anyone feel like
there's no explanation
any
for this?
kind of way, but in my brain, I'm like, this doesn't make sense. What are we doing here? Like,
It is
but I'm across all social media platforms. That MikeVIIMusic is literally Mike 7 Music, but
Mhm.
nobody gets the Roman numeral part, so I had to say MikeVIIMusic.
Yeah.
I feel you.
And on LinkedIn it's Michael M. Butler. There are a million other Michael Butlers that are mostly white guys, older white men. I am not an older white
You're
man.
not an older
I don't
white man.
aspire to be.
no.
So with that in
You're
mind,
doing great as a gorgeous young black man.
thank you. I
You're
need to
welcome.
hear that
You're
today.
doing it,
I
boo.
need to hear that,
You're doing
Suzanne.
it. You're doing it.
But yeah. And then that's how you can find me.
Can I change my favorite word?
Yes.
Lackluster.
Lackluster.
I had to use that a lot writing about the Dolphins.
Oh my God.
A friend of mine told me, this guy told me one time, he says, the Dolphins will always break your heart.
Yeah,
Aw.
yeah.
He said they'll always, and I don't follow football, so I don't know.
I mean, we're Falcons fans.
Yeah, we're
So-
both-
So,
I have no room to speak in that respect.
no.
Like, I
Y'all
was
are at
very,
least
very-
consistent in making a playoff.
Yes.
The Dolphins?
I mean,
The Dolphins are
they're
Okay.
more consistent.
We're
than-
going to go now.
Yeah.
Thank you, Young Gifted and Black. Thank you guys, Raisa, Mr. Isaiah, and Mr. Michael. Thank you very much for coming on In the Circle with Suzanne. And
Can we
we'll
give,
see you as soon as we go off the air.
Well,
We're
well,
gonna
can we
link.
give you some praise real quick?
Oh, me?
Yes.
Sure.
So when I got my job, one of the first people I was told to talk to is you, and I think that's a testament to like who you are and
Yeah.
everything you've built here.
Thank you.
So I just want to give you your flowers
Thank you,
real
sir.
quick.
It's not a lot of,
If
it's
I
not a
could
lot of
pick
black
those
PR.
up.
It's not a lot of
Get
black
them.
PR in Miami.
There's not.
There's some, there's a vet, there's.
Yeah, no, there are.
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
are.
There are
you
more
But not,
like-
not enough.
There's not enough.
nearly
Not enough.
and
not
like
enough, not
Miami runs through Susan.
Yes.
Suzanne.
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 But we appreciate you. We
All
appreciate
right.
you
Yeah.
wholeheartedly.
I appreciate you guys. We're definitely having like a whole I love you guys. So proud of you. I'm gonna watch you. I'm gonna read you. I'm gonna comment. I'm gonna do everything. I'm gonna big you up as much as possible. So
I appreciate it.
thank you and goodbye.